Hey, it's Aunt Shazy. We recently went to the Forney Transportation Museum in Denver, and I'll be honest, the name didn't make me think this museum was going to be as cool as it was. If you like classic cars, motorcycles, bicycles, carriages, trains, then this museum should be on your bucket list. They even have a couple cool planes and tractors. This museum houses one of the most impressive transportation collections in the Western United States, featuring more than 800 artifacts that span nearly every era of travel. And it's really easy to get to from I-70 with plenty of free parking. You could spend days in there if you wanted to read through everything, so I'll try to give you a good overview of what you can expect to see when you go for a visit, or give you a really cool tour if you won't be visiting the Denver area. Before we talk about all the cool stuff they have, let's talk about the museum's history. Its story began with a single automobile and the passion of one Colorado entrepreneur. The museum was founded by Jacob D. J.D. Forney, the founder of Forney Industries, a Colorado company best known for welding equipment. During the 1950s, Forney began collecting antique vehicles, preserving machines that many people considered obsolete. His first major acquisition was a 1921 Kissel automobile. What started as a hobby quickly grew into an obsession with preserving transportation history. As his collection expanded, Forney acquired additional automobiles, wagons, and transportation-related artifacts. By 1955, the collection had become large enough to form the basis of a museum in Fort Collins. The museum was officially established to preserve transportation technology and educate future generations about how people and goods moved throughout history. Over the following decade, the collection expanded dramatically. Cars were joined by locomotives, rail cars, motorcycles, bicycles, fire apparatus, and aviation exhibits. The museum soon outgrew its original facilities. In the 1960s, Forney partnered with Denver surgeon and collector Dr. James Arneal. Together they purchased Denver's historic tramway powerhouse building near the South Platte River. The collections were moved there in 1968, creating a transportation museum unlike anything else in Colorado. The former power station became a landmark attraction for decades. Visitors traveling along Interstate 25 could easily spot the museum and its growing collection. During this period, many significant donations arrived, including one of the most famous steam locomotives ever built. As the collection grew, maintaining the aging tramway building became increasingly expensive. Historic preservation requirements, asbestos remediation, and ongoing structural repairs diverted resources away from the exhibits and educational programs. By the late 1990s, museum leaders realized a move was necessary for long-term survival. In 1998, the tramway building was sold to the sports goods store REI. The museum purchased a massive warehouse facility near the Denver Coliseum on Brighton Boulevard. Moving the collection was an enormous undertaking. The largest challenge was relocating the museum's giant steam locomotive, which required years of planning, track installation, permits, and specialized equipment. The move ultimately cost more than $750,000. The museum reopened to the public in January 2001 in its current 140,000 square foot facility. More than 70,000 square feet are devoted to exhibits, allowing visitors to visit transportation history under one roof. The museum's most recognizable artifact is undoubtedly Union Pacific Big Boy number 4005. Standing beside this locomotive is a humbling experience. We were there during the summer of 2026, and there's a lot of excitement about Big Boy 4014 traveling across the U.S. We couldn't make it to one of the destinations, so this was a good alternative for us. If you actually got to see it in person, please tell me about your experience in the comments. And thanks to my cousin Stacy for these pictures. The Big Boy was one of the largest and most powerful steam locomotives ever constructed. Built by the American Locomotive Company in 1941, these giant 4884 locomotives were designed to haul heavy freight trains through the steeping grades of the Wasatch Mountains between Utah and Wyoming. Only 25 Big Boys were ever built. Today, only 8 survive. The locomotive on display at the museum traveled roughly 1 million miles during its career. It is especially unique because it's the only Big Boy converted to burn oil instead of coal as part of a Union Pacific experiment during the 1940s. The railroad donated the locomotive to the museum in 1970, and it remains one of the most photographed exhibits in Colorado. Measuring more than 132 feet long and weighing over 600 tons with its tender, the Big Boy represents the pinnacle of steam-era engineering. What I didn't know before going to the museum is that 4005 was in a wreck at Red Desert, Wyoming on April 27, 1953. Unfortunately, the engineer Leo Murray and fireman Lawrence Endres were killed in the accident after the train entered an open switch, doing 50 miles per hour. Several carloads of pigs died as well. You can get more detailed information and first-hand accounts of the accident on the museum's website. While the Big Boy receives most of the attention, the museum contains numerous other railroad artifacts. Other trains include the first one you see when you enter the museum, the Forney locomotive, and most visitors walk right past the 1906 Colorado and Southern Railroad caboose without realizing how important it once was. Today, cabooses are nostalgic symbols of the railroad, but in 1906, this car served as the conductor's office, break room, kitchen, and home away from home. From the cupola on the roof, crew members watched the train for shifting loads, overheated equipment, broken couplers, and other potential hazards. Long before radios and computers, the caboose was the railroad's rolling command center. The caboose at the museum was built during the golden age of the Colorado and Southern Railway, when railroads connected Colorado's mines, farms, and growing cities. While wooden cabooses like this one were once a common sight across the West, very few survived the transition to modern railroading. After 65 years of service, this caboose finally retired in 1971. I'm serious about how much cool stuff is at this museum. Growing up near Buffalo, New York, I have seen a lot of snowplows in my day, but they have one of the biggest snowplows I've ever seen. It's a Union Pacific rotary snowplow and tender built by the Leslie Brothers Rotary Steam Shovel Manufacturing in Paterson, New Jersey. It's coal-fired, steam-powered with a steel undercarriage, and the disc is 9 feet 10 inches. The length of the plow is 37 feet and the tender is 36 feet. During its service, it operated in Wyoming and Colorado. This plow was built in 1909 and retired in 1969. And while I'm talking about plowing, keep an eye out for a rare 1938 Coleman 5-ton winch truck that was built in Littleton, Colorado. The one at the museum worked between Minturn and Leadville, Colorado. While many vehicles have been donated to the museum, this one is currently on loan. And the one train I keep coming back to is the California Zephyr. When it made its inaugural run in 1949, the CZ was a joint venture between the Denver and Rio Grande Western, Western Pacific, and the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy railroads. Long before air travel became the preferred way to get across the country, the California Zephyr offered one of the most luxurious ways to travel between Chicago and the San Francisco Bay Area. It became famous for its glass-top Vista Dome cars, giving passengers breathtaking views of the Rocky Mountains, deserts, and the Sierra Nevada. Travelers could choose from comfortable coach seating or private sleeping accommodations, then relax in the lounge or enjoy a freshly prepared meal in the dining car. Imagine sipping a cocktail while watching some of America's most spectacular scenery roll past your window. One particularly notable exhibit is Denver's 1888 cable car. Long before electric streetcars became common, cable-powered transit systems moved passengers through growing cities. The preserved cable car offers a glimpse into urban transition during the late 19th century. And the final train I'll yap on about is the Denver and Rio Grande Western number 3006. It was built by General Motors' Electromotive division in the early 1960s. Number 3006 is a GP30 diesel-electric locomotive producing 2,250 horsepower. At a time when steam locomotives were disappearing from American railroads, engines like this were taking over. One of the GP30's most recognizable features is its unusually raised roofline, giving it a distinctive profile that railroad fans can spot instantly. While it may not be as famous as the Big Boy, this train represents the locomotive that kept freight moving into the modern era. And one of my personal favorite displays at the museum is their Denver Tramway Streetcar 77, which was built in 1906. I say it's one of my favorites because my great-grandfather was a trolley car conductor in Pittsburgh in the early 20th century, and as a history and genealogy nerd, I love to think about what a normal workday would have been like for him. It took 2 people to operate the streetcar, a conductor and a motorman. My great-grandfather was in charge of operating the car and signaling the motorman when it was time to go forward, stop, or back up. It's over 43 feet long and was one of 13 used in Northwest Denver. The museum acquired it in 1978 and restored it in 2014. Now, let's talk about the motorcycle and bicycle collections. The museum's bicycle collection spans nearly 2 centuries. One of the oldest exhibits is the motorcycle collection includes numerous Indian motorcycles dating from 1913 through the 1950s. The 1913 Indian Twin was the first bike with front and rear suspension. The 1949 Indian 249 they have is all original, and the 1952 Indian Brave only has 8 miles on the odometer. The collection showcases the evolution of motorcycle engineering, styling, and performance over several decades. Many motorcycles on display represent the rivalry between Indian and Harley-Davidson, which dominated the American motorcycle industry during the first half of the 20th century. The collection also includes rare international models and racing motorcycles, providing visitors with a comprehensive look at two-wheeled transportation history. Oh, and if you like motorcycles, be sure to check out the video we did on the Rocky Mountain Motorcycle Museum in Colorado Springs. It's my favorite kind of museum, a free one. Unlike the Wings Over the Rockies Museum in Denver and the National Museum of World War II Aviation in Colorado Springs, both of which we have done videos on, this museum only has a couple aviation-related artifacts. One of them is this Brantley 305, a 5-place high-performance helicopter. This rare helicopter was built in Frederick, Oklahoma in 1966. A total of 45 were manufactured, and the one at the museum is one of only a handful remaining in existence. It's structurally and mechanically complete. Another is a Forney Aircoupe F1. It was designed by Airco, Engineering and Research Corporation, and the one in the museum was built in 1957. The company began making the planes in 1936, and when they went on sale in 1940, they cost $2,665. The very last Aircoupe was built in 1970 by the Mooney Aircraft Corporation. And they have a cute little Quicksilver MX Ultralight, one of the most popular recreational aircraft ever built. After hang gliding became popular in the 1970s, it was introduced with the addition of wheels, a seat, and a small engine to make flying simple and affordable. One of the museum's most famous automobiles once belonged to aviation pioneer Amelia Earhart. The bright yellow 1923 Kissel Speedster she nicknamed Kissel, and then later Yellow Peril, was owned by Amelia before she became internationally famous. In 1924, she drove the car more than 7,000 miles across North America with her mother. At a time when paved highways were rare and roadside assistance didn't exist, the trip was considered a remarkable adventure. She owned the vehicle until 1929. Oh, and another fun fact, she learned how to fly before she learned how to drive. Honestly, automobile enthusiasts can spend hours exploring the museum's collection. The Cadillacs alone are worth an hour of your time. Some other car highlights include a 1923 Hispano-Suiza luxury automobile, a 1927 Rolls-Royce, a beautiful 1934 Pierce Arrow, early electric automobiles including a Detroit Electric, and rare touring cars and roadsters from the brass-era automobile period. These vehicles illustrate how rapidly automotive technology evolved during the first decades of the 20th century. Visitors can compare hand-built luxury cars with practical transportation vehicles that help shape modern America. Several antique fire engines document the evolution of firefighting technology. Among the highlights is a historic Stutz fire engine, along with horse-drawn apparatus and early motorized firefighting equipment. Transportation history is not limited to roads and railways. The museum also preserves machinery that helped build America's agricultural economy. One of the most impressive examples is a 1923 Case steam tractor. Massive steam-powered tractors like this transformed farming before gasoline and diesel engines became dominant. The museum goes beyond vehicles. You'll also find vintage transportation uniforms, toys and die-cast models, transportation-related artwork, historic signage, a collection of more than 500 Matchbox vehicles, and a bunch of mechanical artifacts and memorabilia. These items help tell a broader cultural story of transportation and its impact on everyday life. Today, the Forney Museum of Transportation stands as one of Denver's most unique museums. For anyone interested in automobiles, railroads, aviation, engineering, or Colorado history, the Forney Museum provides a remarkable journey through the machines that help build the modern world. Its collection continues to grow, ensuring that future generations can experience the story of transportation, not through photographs alone, but by standing face to face with these vehicles that changed history. And, as always, thanks for watching. Now go hit that like button for me, and if you haven't subscribed, please hit that button too.